Well, 2024 is over. And in this video, I want to talk about what exactly happened in the real estate market in eastern Idaho, specifically Bonneville County. The real estate market has kind of gone like this. And we've had some highs, we've had some lows, we've had some weird things happen, and a lot of emotions behind it all. So in this video, we're going to talk about the stats for the whole year, including the average price, days on market, and of course the average interest rate that we saw this year. Next, we're going to talk about what the market feels like compared to what the stats are showing us. And lastly, we'll talk about the predictions. What will 2025 look like? What will it look like in our nation? And what will it look like here in eastern Idaho? You ready? Let's get started. What's up, guys? If you're new to my channel and you want to know all there is to know about life in Idaho Falls and the surrounding areas, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Then you'll be the first to know about all things life in Idaho Falls. My name is Annika Wilder. I'm a local realtor here in eastern Idaho. So if you're thinking about moving here or you know somebody that's moving here and you have questions, give me a call. Shoot me a text, send me an email, schedule a Zoom. I'll be happy to answer your questions. I love meeting people and I help people just like you every single day. All right, let's get started. So what was the real estate market like in 2024? First, I like to start with how many homes sold and what was the lowest price point and the highest price point. In 2024, and I know we've got 2 days left in the market, so that number could change just a little bit, but as of December 29th, 2024, we have sold 1,295 homes, in which 815 of those have been in the last 6 months. And of those 815 homes that sold in the last 6 months, those were on the market for about 44 days. The days on the market on average was 44 days for homes that sold in the last 6 months, which is different than what we're seeing now, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Now, I always do my market updates with the data of single family homes. That is the majority of our market, so that doesn't include commercial spaces or apartment buildings. These are just single family residences. The least expensive house that sold in 2024 is this one right here on Jefferson Avenue. It sold for $159,000, 2 bedroom, 1 bath, and just over 1,600 square feet. As you can tell, it was in rough condition, hence the lower price point. This one was definitely a fixer-upper, and I'm hoping to see a flip here soon, and I'm hoping to see it come back on the market, but we'll see what happens. The most expensive home was this one that sold for $3,100,000. It's nearly 12 acres in Swan Valley. It's only a 3,600 square foot house, but it has a shop space with a 1,200 square foot guest house as well. And Swan Valley and the Irwin areas sell for a lot more. People may not realize that Swan Valley and Irwin are part of Bonneville County, so it is included in our stats. But I do want to show you the most expensive home that sold right here in Idaho Falls, or Ammon, which this year happened to be in Idaho Falls. This house sold for $1,900,000 in Idaho Falls. It's a 6 bedroom, 6 bathroom house on 5 acres, 4 car garage, over 10,000 square feet. It's absolutely stunning. As you can tell, we have homes all over the map, from low 100,000 to almost $2 million and above if you go to Swan Valley. There's a lot in between there. The average house that sold in Idaho Falls or the surrounding areas is around $400,000 to $450,000, landing really around $430,000. Here's an example of the average homes that have sold in the last year. As you can tell, these kind of range from newer Rockwell homes with unfinished basements to older homes from 4 bedrooms to 6 bedrooms, a lot of ranch style homes, which is definitely the style here in Idaho Falls. There were just over 2,000 new listings that came up in 2024. This is actually lower than it was, let's say, in 2021 and 2022. It's a very similar number as we saw last year in 2023, but these numbers that we saw this year and last year are comparable to what we saw before 2014. So inventory has continued to be low since that big rush, that big housing boom in 2020. Now, out of those nearly 1,300 homes that sold in 2024, just over 200 of those were brand new construction. Now, this is only a stat that we can track if they hit the MLS. Builders often will sell houses directly to the consumer, and so we don't always have that data available. So the number we have that we can report on is just over 200 homes that are new construction. However, my guess would be it's probably closer to that 300 mark, just to make up for that builder to consumer direct sales stat. The average price per square foot has been around 155, creeping up to 160. I'm seeing 160 and 170, depending on the home, depending on the newness and the location. But on average, I'm still seeing about 160 to 170 price per square foot. Lastly, the average interest rate over 2024 has really been floating between 6 and 7%. I would put a sweet spot at 6.5%. It has creeped up past 7%, and it's inched down just slightly below 6% earlier this year, but really on average, most of the year, it's been about 6.5%, which isn't a huge difference from the previous year, although in 2023, we saw it go up to 8%, which is not something that we saw this year. We did see some 7s, but this year in 2024, it's mostly around that 6.5%. And a lot of buyers have been taking advantage of permanent rate buydowns or temporary rate buydowns to help make their homes more affordable in the meantime. That's all the stats that I have for you in regards to 2024. Those are the main ones. There's other ones we can look at, like absorption rate and things like that. But I want to talk now about what it feels like. And this is the biggest challenge, because there's a lot of buyers out here that really aren't making much more money than they made in 2020. However, the prices of homes have gone up significantly. The average home price was more in the lower 300,000 in 2019, 2020, and then it quickly inched up to over 400,000. And so the challenge is for buyers being able to afford houses when their income hasn't matched the increase of the homes. And so a lot of buyers are saying, I can't afford to buy a home. It's just too expensive. I'll just rent for a little bit. And then the other side of it is sellers who have a great interest rate don't want to sell, because if they sold, then they would have to either downsize and use equity to keep their payment lower, or they would have to end up paying more for a house because those interest rates are higher. So it's been a difficult thing to navigate. However, people are still moving here every single day. They're moving here for jobs. They're moving here to be close to family. They're moving here for a better peace of mind because it's a slower pace of life and it's lower crime. It's family friendly. So there are always reasons why people will buy or sell. There are people selling every day because they don't want to deal with the winter anymore. And so the market that I'm seeing here in East Idaho is that it is continually revolving. Things are still changing. Things are progressively increasing in value. There are interest rates are going to kind of do their thing. We can't know exactly what's going to happen, but I'll tell you a little bit more about what I think will happen in 2025 in just a minute. But right now, since 2020, everybody thought houses were just selling so quickly, because they were. And so now that things are kind of balancing out, if a home is sitting on the market for 50, 60 days, buyers feel like they have the opportunity to lowball houses. They feel like they can come in and offer 20, 30, 40, 50,000 under asking price because it hasn't sold yet. But this is what happens in a balanced market. We have been in a seller's market for so long, and technically, according to the National Association of Realtors, we're still in a seller's market. So buyers that are coming in and lowballing houses or putting in offers that are lower, more advantageous to them, which, let me tell you, I get it. I totally get it. I want prices to be lower for you too. But the sellers are saying, this is the price that I need to sell it at in order for me to buy another house. So it feels like buyers have more leverage, but that's not necessarily true. I am seeing sellers win and I'm seeing buyers win. If a seller is super motivated, which I just sold one a few months ago, listed at $550,000, and my buyer was able to get it for $520,000. That's $30,000 less than what the seller was asking for. And it's because the seller was super motivated. But then we also have some sellers that their house is paid off and they are not in a hurry and they will wait until the right offer comes along. So there is a lot of different things going around where buyers are getting deals, sellers are getting deals, and sometimes buyers are paying more than they want and sometimes sellers are selling for less. To me, it shows that the market is actually balancing out, which brings me to point number 3, which is my predictions for 2025. 2025, I'm feeling so hopeful. I already have a few families that we're pending right now and we're closing in January. They're in that low 6% rate. And we are seeing more and more people move here. So what this means is the price of homes in Idaho Falls and the surrounding areas will continue to rise. It is becoming a desirable place to live. The secret's out. It's a great place to live. So this is probably the most important part of the video. If you are waiting for rates to come down, you might be hurting yourself in the long run because there are a lot of reports that show that the market is really going to balance itself out. It is really going to be a buyer's and a seller's market. Rates will settle around 6%, maybe a little bit lower than 6%, but I wouldn't count on it. 6% is actually a very healthy rate. I would personally love to see 5%, but these are still lower than what it was in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. And then the rates came down quite a bit to the 3s and the 2s, but then they've come back up to a very healthy rate in my opinion. And a lot of experts, smarter than me, are predicting that in 2025, they're saying buyers get used to 6% and take advantage of the lower price point now here in eastern Idaho because the prices are only going to go up. So if you wait for that rate to go down, it could be several years. And when the average price point is between $400,000 and $450,000, if you wait for several years for the rate to come down, you might be buying a $500,000 to $550,000 to $600,000 house on average. So you have to look at the numbers. Ultimately, what it comes down to is what is best for you. Do you have to move? Do you want to move? And why? So my job as a realtor is I get to ask these questions. We get to go deep and I get to ask what exactly is the reason and the motivation for you to buy or sell in 2025. And then I can help you navigate and make the best decision possible without emotion. I get to take the emotion out and look at things objectively and think about your best possible outcome. And I promise there are deals to be had and there are great lenders out there that can find you a program, whatever you choose to buy. So overall, I'm very hopeful for 2025. I believe that this balancing market will happen across the whole nation as well as in Idaho. I also believe that that means days on market are going to increase. We're going to see 70, 80, 90 days on market, which is totally normal. And that's okay. And so if it feels like a house has been sitting for 90 days, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. It just means that the market is shifting into more of a balance. Things aren't selling as quickly anymore. And I think we're going to see that in 2025 as well. Well, that's all I have for you for this video. Thank you so much for listening. Again, my name is Annika Wilder. I am a realtor here in eastern Idaho. If you need anything, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me a message, and I'll be happy to help. We'll see you next time. Bye.